Hey guys, Brandon Productions here, and welcome to this tutorial. Now, if you've been coding for a while in Visual Basic.net or any other coding language such as C#, C++, PHP, anything, the number one concern you always have is bugs. Now, you never want bugs getting out into public releases because that's just bad. So, how do you capture all these bugs at once? Well, that's simple. There's actually a .NET extension for VB.NET, C#.NET, and any other .NET language such as ASP.NET called Gibraltar. And I actually went ahead and picked this up, and I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the cool features of it. Pretty much all it does is catches your errors from your application and then sends it back to you. So no matter where your application is, it can actually send information from your application to this thing called Gibraltar Analyst. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually start a new Visual Basic project and go ahead and implement Gibraltar into it. So let's just name this project Gibraltar Example. And then I'm going to press OK here. And so the first thing we're going to do is actually add a button to our project. And this button is going to do one thing and one thing only. It's going to give you an error. So we're just going to double click on the button to get to the button code, and then we are just going to type in this error code. Now most of you probably don't know this, but you can actually throw your own errors by typing in the code throw new exception and then parentheses in the error message. So we're just going to say this is a error and error because the button was pressed. And now we're actually going to run the application. And then we just press the error button. And as you can see here, we actually get an error. See, the problem with this is that we actually we don't know that this error will occur on remote computers, computers on other networks in other countries, maybe. So what we need to do is actually get Gibraltar on here, and Gibraltar will actually take the information from that error and report it back to us. So how do we get Gibraltar implemented into this project? It's very easy. They have a built-in configuration editor and Gibraltar adder, if you will, right in their Gibraltar Analyst platform. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now we are actually in the Gibraltar Analyst here, and as you can see here, it's actually got a bunch of error reports submitted by Twit Control, but that's simply because I was testing out Gibraltar on that application. But anyway, besides that, it's very easy to add Gibraltar to an application. All we need to do is, first we need to save the application, so I'm just going to save this is Gibraltar example, and then I'll build the application, and just go in here, and then we need to select it. So, Gibraltar example, and then just select the project file, and then we're just going to press next, next. Now this is where it gets really easy, pretty much. There are several ways that you can allow people to send information back to you. The number one way would be for users to email you. So Gibraltar actually will package all of the bugs and email them to you via a specified email address. They also have this thing called Gibraltar Hub, which is built in, but it's pretty much a server, and instead of sending all the things to you via email, it uploads all the errors to the server, and then you can receive that from the Gibraltar Analyst. So just for tutorial purposes, we're just going to use the Gibraltar Hub here. And then all we need to do is enter your Gibraltar Hub account name, Brandonian21 of course, and then we are just going to we're going to tell it to automatically submit sessions, and we're going to delete the session once the data is sent, and let's send data for all applications in this product. So what this pretty much does, it's tell it that as soon as the application is exited or ended, the Gibraltar will actually send all errors and all information about your application to the Gibraltar Hub as soon as it exits. And once it's sent, it will delete the data to save client disk space. It's all good there. And then we're all ready. All we need to do is press reload. And we've actually got the Gibraltar implemented into our project. So now, there's a few things we need to do to actually get Gibraltar set up and running in this project. We actually need to go into the My Project and then view application events, and when the application starts up, we actually need to start Gibraltar up. So first of all, we need to import Gibraltar itself. So imports Gibraltar.agent, and then over here we're just going to say Gibraltar.agent.log.start session. So this starts up Gibraltar, and then we're just going to say application started. And on application shutdown as well, we need to .log. And this one is end session application shutdown. So now we have Gibraltar up and running in our application. That was super easy. Okay, so now what we can do is we can actually yeah, that's it. So now if we save our project, we can actually run it, and when we press this button, as you can see, the Gibraltar actually handles the error, and instead of quitting back into the debugger and you know, exiting out of our application, it actually gives us these options. Now this is what will happen when a client runs your application, but it's a very nice error dialog, and you actually have a few options here. So I'll automatically report this at the end of the session, and then I'll just exit this. And once we exit the session or the application, because that you couldn't continue after that error, but once we do this, we it cuts us back here because we were debugging. But if we run it without debugging, we can press this, and we can actually just close the error message and get that out of our way. The third time, if you could press ignore any new problems, and that's good. But anyway, I'm getting into small things. Once we close the application, which we have done, it'll actually send you a nice error report right to the Gibraltar Analyst. So let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, so now we are in the Gibraltar Analyst, and we actually see that we received two logs from the Gibraltar example we created itself. And we can actually view more details about this log by double-clicking on them. But right now we can get a nice overview. So we've got some critical sessions and some error sessions from Gibraltar, and we noticed that the only thing that Gibraltar example, our application, has been running on is Windows 7. So we can go ahead and delve into these logs by double-clicking them, and once we double-click them, we can actually see what happened. So as we can see, the application is started, and then there was an error because the button was pressed, and then it loads some assemblies. It tells us that the session data will be sent on exit, and yes, it says then the session crashed because the user exited application after exception. So if you remember, that was the one where it actually went back to the debugger and gave us the debug message. But pretty much now we have detailed information that the button was actually pressed to cause the error. And we can actually scroll down over here and move this, and we can actually see some detailed information about the memory usage in our application as well, and the processor usage. So we can click on this high point right here and learn that when the application exits, it actually is using the most processor usage. And we can also go to the memory usage here, and the session data will be sent on exit is causing the memory usage to spike, but it's also going up right here where it exits. So when an application exits, from this graph you can tell that it uses a lot of memory and processor information. We can also open up the second log here, and this one has a little bit more details, simply because we pressed the button multiple times, but we've got what am I saying? We've got the application started, then the errors because the button was pressed, and then the application shut down. We can actually also filter these, so we can only want to display the messages that matter, or we can only display the error messages. And the great thing about this is once you click on the error message, you can actually learn about what happened, why this happened. Looks like it happened when button 1 was clicked. You can get the call stack, so all the history about what happened, and then you can actually click here and go to the exact code to learn why that happened. So that was a very basic example of what's going on, but say you want more detailed information, right? You can actually integrate Gibraltar with this thing called PostSharp, and this will actually, Gibraltar actually has a built-in library for PostSharp, So all you need to do is implement it, and then you'll get tons more information. So how do we do this? We simply go to Project, Add Reference, and then we add the PostSharp references. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so the PostSharp references have been added, and now all we need to do is tell the application to actually use PostSharp. This can actually be done in the assembly information, which we have to add to our project. We're right-clicking on Gibraltar example, click Add, and then Existing Item, and then we choose go into My Project, and then Assembly Info. Now we can actually edit the assembly information straight from here. So all we need to do is add one line to get PostSharp working. So we just need to do assembly, colon, and then PostSharp. I was lying, not PostSharp. We need to do Gibraltar.agent.PostSharp. There you go. And then we choose the one we want. Gibraltar actually has several built-in things, like this one only reports information about exceptions, this one reports information about how often things are used, and etc, etc. But right now we're just going to use gtrace, which gives us very detailed information about what's being done in the application at that exact time. And these are actually popping us errors, so we're just going to go ahead and comment these out. Not a good practice, but easy to do for tutorial purposes. Okay, that works. So now we're going to press File, Save All, and then Build, and then we're actually going to run the application here. So let's run without debugging. And now we're going to press the error message, close it, and then we're just going to close the application. And that should produce enough data for us to go ahead and check it out in Gibraltar Analyst. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we have received our session in the Gibraltar Analyst, and now so we're going to go ahead and double-click this to get more information about it. And as you can probably immediately notice, there is a lot more information on this session report. But we can actually know what's going on in our application when we run it now. So it looks like we've got some constructors going on. It's actually initializing here, and here the form's actually starting to show. And now it's playing around with the button, getting that in the form, and then it's actually showing itself right here. And then we can see that we form one button click, so we actually clicked the button, and the program received it here, and then it threw this error. And again, we can sort this to get rid of these messages and just show this. Very nice. Alright, and there's several other features of Gibraltar. And one of the main features that I like, in any case, is the feature to actually show errors, or report your session only when there's errors in your project. And this could be implemented with just a few lines of code. So let's go ahead and do that. Because one thing you don't want is to be spammed with sessions that have useless information. That'll kill the network, it'll kill bandwidth. So if you only do it if there's errors, it'll actually save some bandwidth. So what we're going to do here is actually create when the form loads, we're going to create a handler for the Gibraltar.agent.log. And then we look for the event message alert, and this is going to be address of log message. Oops. Alert. Can't spell today. And then we're actually going to create a new sub right here called log message alert. 5L sender as object. 5L e as, and this could be a pain. Log message alert event args. There we go. Alright, so now we've got the actual subs set up, and now we just need to, so what happens is every time a Gibraltar error occurs, it's going to go straight to the sub. And now we can actually tell it to, so every time an error occurs in our application, or every time Gibraltar goes to log something, it will actually pass through this sub right here. So what we're going to tell it to do is actually test out the severity of the log, and if it is very severe, we're actually going to send it. If not, then we will not send it. So all we need to do is if e dot severity, top severity, is less than or equal to, let's go warning, then e.send session equals true. Else we are not going to send the session. And that is it. So now it will only send the sessions, or it will send the sessions exactly when there is an error. That's it. So here we're actually going to test this out right now. So let's go ahead and debug the application. And let's click this error. Now as soon as this error is shown, it will go ahead and send the log right over. And as we can see, we've got the pop-up right here, new error sessions available. So we're just going to go ahead and close this error message up and check out that log. So right here, we've got a 4-second duration because that's how long we're actually running the project, and we can open that up. And as you can see, the last event that ever happened, well, before the last event, it sent the sessions, and this session actually happened, or that sending actually happened right when this error, right after this error occurred. Very short amount of time between there, so like 1 millisecond to be exact. But anyway, so that means you can configure it only when errors to send your session to the hub, which could be completely convenient. So that was my basic overview of Gibraltar. Gibraltar it's not free, but in my opinion it's well worth it. I thought I'd share that with you guys because, you know, I've been using it for maybe 3 or 4 days now, 2 days, I don't know how long actually, but anyway, it's very nice. I've already actually figured out over, I'd say, 10 unseen errors in Twit control just by sending it over to my friends and having their error reports sent back to me. So that's how great Gibraltar is, guys. You should probably check it out. They do have a free trial if you want to try it out, and the price is actually pretty reasonable. So thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and see ya.